Well, hey, gang. We are here. We are live. It is Sunday evening. We're going to get ready for another week of our keto journey and how we can apply that into our daily life. And I'm kind of excited about that. As you can see, we are getting things put back together after moving everything out last week and getting the carpets cleaned. So we're slowly putting it back and making some adjustments to it. So yay. Oh, we got somebody from Texas. Texas. Wow. Is it still hot in Texas? Or is it ever not hot in Texas? So Sunday night, we want to just open this up for people with questions, keto for beginners. You know, how do you get started? You heard about this keto thing. What's the deal? What's the dealio, Neilio? How do you get started? What are things to look out for? Some pitfalls, some pro tips. And so that's what we're going to cover. So if you've got those, drop them in the chat. We want to know where you're at right now as far as where are you on your keto journey. If you're brand new, let us know that. And tonight, one thing. Oh, we got somebody from Virginia. Hello, Diane. Got Lynn from Texas, Diane from Virginia. Oof, 118 degrees. No, thank you. I was out doing yard work today, and it was 83 degrees, but it was in the direct sun for a few hours, so that was enough for me. But that is one thing I do like doing. I hate doing yard work. Full disclosure, I hate yard work. However, I look forward to it insofar as it's my, I know I'm going to get a really good overall total body workout on yard day, because I don't use a powered mower. I don't use gas. I don't use electric. I use the reel. It's got the barrel in front of it with the blades on it. So yeah, that'll give you a workout, especially on the hills that we've got in our yard. And then anyone ever growing up use a little manual edger to trim against the sidewalk? Yep, got one of those too. So it's always a good workout. So I was 88 degrees, according to my lovely wife. Well, one of the things I want to mention is, and I'll throw this out as a question, so audience participation. Let's talk about fat. Let's talk about ratios, and I don't mean getting down to the nth degree. You can do that if you are really a citizen scientist, but a lot of people, especially brand new to keto, they're like, well, I hear it's high fat, or some people say it's high protein. How do you figure out what that is? So my question to you is, what, coming into the keto space, what's your take on fat? Should it be high fat, moderate fat? So think about that. Let me know. Oh yeah, and fixing the dryer. Yes, I did fix the dryer today. The heating element went out, and she's like, well, we could start looking at a brand new dryer. I'm like, well, that's $550 to start, or we can find the part was like $40. Take 2 days to get here, and I had never done it, but I did it successfully. It's over there drying right now, and nothing's on fire. But I got a boo-boo. So have sympathy. Hello, Susanna. How are you? Okay, so Julie's saying high fat and high protein. Is that what you mean? Need my goggles. Ribeye fat. However much that ratio is. I hear you. Okay, so Julie says high fat and high protein. Anybody else? Any takers? Brand new to keto. You're just starting out. I'm going to try this keto thing. Where do you think you should start with? We want to keep the carbs down. We know that. As low as you can tolerate getting started. But where do you want your fat, that fat macro? Because and all of these can be different for everybody, and so I don't want anyone to think there's a one size fits all. There isn't. We've said it before. We'll always say it. Your health needs are going to be as unique as your fingerprint. So if that means getting with, you're doing an N=1 experiment on yourself, getting with a coach, a health coach, getting with a doctor, a provider, nurse practitioner, just someone that can help tweak things to your, your metabolism, your physiology, genetics, all that plays a role. So don't think there's one size that fits all. And also don't take any of this as medical advice. We're going to be descriptive, not prescriptive. We want to talk about concepts and then how you can apply those in your life. But one thing I'm not going to do is tell you, you need to eat this much of this, you need to take this supplement, you need to do that. Not going to do that. That's beyond the scope of a health coach. But what we can do is help maybe load your lip for you to have a conversation with your provider. So, disclaimer. Let's see. More fat than protein. Lynn says, was leaning towards keto or lots of meat and very little veggies and fruit. Had an issue with too much fat causing floating stools. Been there, done that. Now trying to lower fats back into the low carb keto side. High fat will help with hunger pangs, yes. Oh, ketovore, not keto. Okay. Well, I don't want to say it was a trick question, but it was a question. The answer actually will change over time. If you're brand new to keto and you've just had a standard American, standard Western diet for years, decades, the best thing you can do would probably be go a little bit higher fat than you think you need to, but have it a little bit higher fat than protein. Why? You want to do what's called getting fat adapted or keto adapted. You want your body to start to recognize that the carbs are lower, so there's going to be less glucose, and we need an alternate source of fuel, and that's going to be fatty acids and amino acids, because those can get converted into ketones. Thank you, liver. So what you want to do is kind of let your body know, hey, newsflash, we're going to start using fats for fuel. And eventually, here's where it changes. Eventually, once you are keto adapted, fat adapted, then you want to actually maybe drop that back down a little bit and increase the protein. And it's not, they don't have to, they operate independent of each other. So your protein macro and your fat macro, just because you're lowering your fat doesn't necessarily mean you need to raise your protein. Just because you're raising your protein doesn't mean you have to lower your fat. They're independent of each other. But as you're starting out on keto, you want to have a pretty high fat. Now you don't want to have disaster pants, but that's only going to be for a while. That's just to get your body used to things. That could take 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes. And then you want to, how is your body, here's a question, how is your body going to use the stored fat on your belly, on your leg, on your butt? If you're giving your body all this extra fat now, it has no reason to tap into the stored body fat. It's just, well, you're giving me the fat that I need for fuel, so I'll just keep using that. That's why once your body is used to that, you're going to start to lower that fat a little bit. And again, you're going to play with this. You don't want to just drop the bottom out of it. You want to, okay, if you're having, let's say you're having, you said loose stools. Okay, so maybe drop it down a little bit. Stay there for maybe 2 weeks and then figure out, okay, now do I need to drop it anymore, or do I need, or keep it the same and raise my protein a little bit? And there's a lot of different ways we can look at that. But the main point is your fat's going to be, it can be a little tricky, but don't let it derail you. Meaning, it's all going to be okay. But you want to just let your body know, hey, we're going to start using fat now. We're not using carbs. We're not using glucose as much. We want to use fatty acids. So you're kind of, if you want to think of it as priming the pump. And then once you're like, okay, we're grooving, then you can start to lower that and then adjust your macros a little bit. Especially if you're going to begin adding any sort of activity or exercise, then you'll definitely want to increase your protein. Hunger pains, yes, the more fats that you have just naturally occur. You mentioned ribeye. The natural fat that comes with the meat, or if you have some keto veg or fruits like an avocado, there's a lot of fat in that. I'm talking about added fat, like adding butter to your coffee, adding butter to your steak. Unless you just like the taste. But some people they'll have bulletproof coffee every single day for ever and ever, amen. And you're just loading up with fat. Yes, that can help you extend a fast, and that's a good strategy to help extend a fast because of the satiety. But what you don't want to do is do that so much that, again, your body's saying, I don't need to tap into that belly fat because I'm getting all the energy I need from what I'm taking in. Make sense? If it makes sense, say something in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or the question mark. Let me get back to these comments. Would it be wise to start with fat in the morning before eating protein? That's going to depend on what kind of eating schedule you're on. Are you doing any sort of intermittent fasting? Or are you just having 3 standard meals a day? For the absolute beginner, we would say maybe just don't even think of it as fasting, but just push your breakfast out maybe as long as you can. Push it out an extra hour, and then start eating. You could go with extra fat for breakfast. It will keep you less hungry, unless you go over that threshold and you're like, kind of got the rumbly tumbly. Again, the big thing you do want to do is prioritize protein, because that's the building block. That's actually more easily accessible by your body as energy than fat. Fat is actually at the bottom of the list, which is why it can be a little tricky. So one of the energy hierarchy, if you will, any kind of alcohol is going to be burned. That is first. It is first up. Any sort of alcohol, alcohol esters, anything, that's going to get used right off the top. Period, bar none, case closed. Glucose is the next really available. It's like if it's around, your body's going to say, I'll use that as a priority. Then it's protein, and then it's fat. So what you want, that's why controlling your carbohydrates is important. We're not going to use any alcohols. We're not going to use any carbohydrates. We're going to go next to, let's go with protein. That's a good building block. Now, it does give you an insulin response. Not nearly what a carb and sugar insulin response is going to be, but it will affect your insulin. The advantage of fat is it will not, it does, but it is so minuscule, it's so nominal, it's as if it doesn't affect your insulin. But, so technically, yes, it will, but it's hardly anything. So, all that to say, if you are actively fasting, if you're trying to fast through breakfast, and I want to eat as late as possible because you want to shift your eating window to maybe the afternoon and evening, then maybe go a little bit heavier on the fats in the morning, with the butter coffee, the bulletproof coffee, things like that. Or if not, then you could always go kind of balanced. An egg has probably got the best, it's about almost 50-50 of protein to fat. It's nature's perfect food. So if you're going to have breakfast, maybe do some eggs. Hope that answers your question. But yeah, if you're actively fasting, then yeah, go with your fats earlier. Or if you are, and there's a lot of research out. I know Ben Bickman just did one of his courses on some new research that the evidence shows it's actually a little bit metabolically better for you to eat in the morning and fast through dinner. But even he said, I've got a family. I want to have dinner with my family. So even though it's a little less than optimal, he'll fast through breakfast and have like his lunch and then his dinner with his family. So that's a scheduling choice. So take the whole fat question into consideration with your eating schedule. So hope that helps. Butter or tallow and sticks. Oh, Diane. So a couple years ago, we realized, you could make your own compound butter. You can make whatever herbs or whatever you want. Oh my God, garlic and herb homemade butter on a steak. Oh yes, that is the bee's knees. Every single time. Let's see. Adding butter to my coffee and butter on pretty much everything. Yeah, yeah. And again, when you add butter or avocado oil or some kind of good quality fat, yeah, you're going to be raising up. And I don't want to say artificially, but I'm just saying it's going to be exogenously from without. It's not just the fat that's on the ribeye or the fat that's in the avocado. It's going to be you're purposely adding extra fat, and that's what you want to be aware of. I don't even want to be cautious, but just be aware of, especially once you pass that stage of being fat adapted and keto adapted. Fat adapted means your body's starting to use fatty acids for energy. Then after comes keto adapted, which means your body is going to start to make ketones, and it'll be using those to like supercharge everything, and that's what you want. Typically, that's going to be 6 to 8 weeks out, and that's when you can start to kind of look at maybe lowering some of that. Let's see. Oh yeah, fasting for more than 14 hours or more. Yeah, you see your difference in your body within a few days. That for me personally was the linchpin. I was doing the diet, properly. I was doing a ketogenic diet, and I was slowly transitioning from a SAD diet to a keto diet to low carb, then to keto, then to ketovore, and so on. And it took me the transition, I'd say about 2 to 3 months, and I was seeing steps all along the way, improvements. But I've got to say, when I started intermittent fasting, even as a rookie, that was the linchpin. That's when things really started happening, and people were like, "Are you okay?" People ask me at work, "Are you sick? You've lost so much weight so fast." It's like, no, I'm actually healthier than I have been in decades. So fasting is a good strategy. You can fast too much, though. Read up on Jason Fung, especially. He's the authority. The Complete Guide to Fasting is a great book. The other thing you can look at is, there's so many, Mindy Pelz, Ben Azadi, Dr. Daniel Pompa. They've got a lot of resources on fasting. Ben Bickman does. But again, you can do too much fasting, and the downside of that's going to be fasting, just like exercise. Fasting is a stress on your body. And what comes with stress? Yeah, that's right, cortisol. You're going to raise your cortisol, which is going to do what? It's going to elevate your blood sugar a little bit if you do too much or you do too much too soon. So again, it's a push-pull. It's just like you want to go, when you work out, you lift heavy. You want to tear the muscle fiber, and then you want to have some rest to let it grow back even stronger. But if you're a gym rat and you're in there every day just hitting it, you're not giving your body a chance to recover and for the proteins to build that structure back. You're actually doing more damage than good. And you can do some serious damage by too much fasting too. So again, that's where your lifestyle, your schedule, your eating schedule, all of that, it's going to play a factor. That's where, yeah, you might want some one-on-one coaching to dial that in to get the best results. But in general, fasting, absolutely. Whether that's a 16:8, an 18:6, whatever it is, if it's five 5:2, there's all kinds of different protocols you can look at for different things. If you're sedentary, office worker, if you're somewhat active, if you're a gym rat, if you're a trainer, there's all different strategies for fasting. So just be aware of that. Oh, let's see. Yeah, you stop the butter coffee. Yeah, and you have less fat, less satiety. Now that does just because you get a little bit hungry, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong, or improper, or inappropriate. Because the other part of fasting is hunger is going to come in waves, and this is where Dr. Jason Fung, he says, as it comes in waves, you got to learn how to ride the wave. So just because you're feeling a little peckish doesn't mean you've messed up. Oh, I don't know how to do this right. No, here's a hack, pro tip. Take a little. We always carry the little vials of Redmond's real salt because it's the best in the world. And just take a little pinch of salt on your mouth and on your tongue, and a lot of times that will take care of your little hunger pang. So, pro tip. But yeah, sometimes you just got to ride the wave. Get busy with work or a chore or some kind of task, and guess what? You'll forget about being hungry until it's time to eat. Now, if you've done that 3 or 4 times, and you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to eat, then go eat. But that's just if you're actively fasting, you don't want to just the first sign of trouble throw in the towel. So again, just work with it. You, and again, it's like a fingerprint. It's going to be different for everybody. So your mileage may vary. What else have we got here? Oh, roasted garlic. Julie, do you mean roasted garlic in the butter or just in general? Because I like them both. Trouble sleeping. I tend to eat during the night. It's gotten better though. How do I get past this? How do you get past trouble sleeping? Sleeping at night. Well, again, this comes down to scheduling. When do you stop eating for the day in relation to when you go to bed? General rule of thumb is going to be whatever time you decide I'm gonna crash here. I'm gonna hit the hay at 10 o'clock, let's say. So back up 3 hours. You want to stop all food at 7 o'clock. Why? That gives your body a chance to digest, rest and digest, and then let that parasympathetic nervous system go to work, which means you're going to rest and digest, you're going to cool off, you're going to calm down, the sun's going to go down, and that'll also help with allowing the melatonin to start to do its thing, serotonin down, melatonin up. Here's a tip. Only eat, whether morning or evening, only eat when the sun is out. Well, what if it's cloudy? Okay, when the sun is supposed to be out. But if it's dark, don't eat. Because again, your body's going to say, oh, it's dark, it's nighttime, I'm supposed to be resting. I'm going to start to shut down things. But then you're trying to make it digest some food. Let your body go with those natural rhythms. That's going to probably be the best thing I could say as far as diet and schedule. So whatever time you want to go to bed, back it up. Stop eating 3 hours before that. Stop drinking any liquids 1 hour before you go to bed. For that reason, but also just so you don't have to get up and pee. There, I said it. Let's see. What have we got? Need extra fat. I have constipation issues all my life. I was always installed with fibrous vegetables and water. Never worked. Now, yeah, if you're having issues with constipation, You can try some extra fat, but that may or may not do the trick for you for that. Um, One thing I would say, look at maybe upping your magnesium. There's a couple different kinds of magnesium. If you're having muscle cramps, you'd want to go with magnesium glycinate. If you're having trouble with stools, if you're having trouble with constipation in particular, you want to go with magnesium citrate. So yeah, magnesium citrate, and maybe start with a very low dose, whatever's on the label. That could be something, especially just to try it out. You could try it with fat and up that, but then again, it depends where you are and your whole keto adaptation, and what your goals are. So your fat for the most part might be good, but maybe you're just deficient in magnesium and need a little bit of that. And I would go with the magnesium citrate in that case. Yeah, just adding a little extra butter. The thing is, you don't want to go crazy adding extra fat to everything, because then that could compound and cause issues. Again, just the term disaster pants, I think, says it all. So be aware. It hurts to sleep. Hurts to sleep laying in bed. Have you got some other sort of condition or something that caused you to have pain while you're just laying in bed? Let's see. Yeah, and when you're laying in bed and you're in some discomfort, is that from muscle pain, muscle spasms? Uh, tell me a little bit about what you're experiencing there. I woke during the night. If I eat butter, discovered found it mild. Yeah, a little bit of butter before you eat, or a little bit of butter before you go to bed. Some people say, and I know Coach Teresa says, sometimes just a pat of butter, not a lot, not a stick, but just a little bit can help you sleep. Why? I don't know, quite honestly, unless it's just, maybe it's the satiety thing. Maybe if you're starting to doze off and you get a little hunger pang because you hadn't eaten in 3 hours. Maybe that's it. Not really sure. But I just know anecdotally, people have said that helps them sleep sometimes. Let's see. Numbness in the legs turning into pain. Okay. Well, that could be a number of things. Probably not diet related. I would say that was my next question, Julie. Are you diabetic, pre-diabetic? Have you had any issues with neuropathy? Because when you say tingling that turns into pain, and that could be some kind of medical intervention needed there. Diet may help, but if it's to that stage, you may want to have that checked out if you haven't already. And that could be some medication or maybe an adjustment of some dosage. But again, that's way beyond scope for me. Doctor doesn't know what it is. Might be muscle in the leg. Well, again, that could be something, magnesium citrate for constipation. Magnesium glycinate could help with, if you've got something going on with the muscles in your legs. If they're getting really contracted, they could be compressing on nerves, because if they're deficient and they need that, and they need something to help them relax, that could be something there too. Yeah. Again, you might need to continue this conversation with your doctor, but I would start simple. It could be, you just need a little bit more magnesium. Do you take any sort of magnesium supplement or electrolyte supplements. I know we take the Keto Chow's daily minerals, and we have 8 to 10 drops in everything I drink all day long. Because if you've ever tried it and you take the whole dose at once, and Chris and Miriam, they'll tell you it tastes nasty. That's why they have pills now too from Salty. But we take that every day just to make sure that we're getting enough electrolytes. Let's see. It's the whole leg and foot. No, what? Okay, so you're not taking any kind of electrolyte supplementation? I would say, let me go find it here for you. I'll drop it in. There we go. Copy. Paste. All right, so there's the link to, and these were actually, they were developed in conjunction, Chris and Miriam Baer, with Dr. Barry. So they've got his picture on it too, because this is what's going to help keep your electrolytes on an even keel. Some people may need other supplementation, but as far as a good all-round, this will cover all your bases. I would definitely start here with the Keto Chow, the drops, or the Salty capsules. Same company, Keto Chow, Salty, same company. I would start there, and then try that for not for a day. Try that for probably a week, maybe 2 weeks, and just see if that helps. You could also try, I'd start there. Then if you think you maybe need a little bit, maybe add a little extra magnesium glycinate to relax those muscles. And if it's going on for weeks and weeks and weeks, after you've done that, definitely talk to your doctor again and just let them know, hey, I've evened out my electrolytes, I'm consistent there and have been for a couple weeks. I've even added maybe a little magnesium glycinate. It's still there. Now it may dissipate. It may lessen considerably. It may not go away completely. Maybe it'll be way less. But that's what I would say as far as a good place to start. Well, cool. Well, gang, it is after 8:30, so we've gone a little bit over, but this has been great. I like the interaction. Invite other people. Every Sunday night we want to do this, for beginner keto especially, but if you've just been hanging out and you've had questions that you never really got answered, that's why we're here. We want to make sure we give you enough information you can go out and apply it to yourself. If you want to have a conversation with your provider, we want to give you that too. Load your lip. We also, a lot of times we'll do a mindset reset, because, I will say this, one of the most, I think, dismissed and it doesn't get enough attention, is the mental, behavioral, even spiritual aspect. This is your life. We want to weave all these things into your life. And so how you think, how you approach things definitely affects everything else. So we're going to cover all those topics every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. And I will, I'll say this. Next week, we are going to be, Julie and I will be on the road getting with some other key folks in the keto, carnivore space. And we may have a special guest with us. No guarantees, but it's very likely that next Sunday night we're going to have two very special guests with us. So stay tuned and wait with anticipation and bated breath. Anyway, guys, if you need anything, give us a shout in the PhD community. And also you can catch us on Instagram and Facebook And you can always catch us at phdsynergy.com if you need to reach out. And if you need a coach, give us a shout. All right, guys, we're out of here.